Welcome to another episode of Coffee with Closers. Today we have a very special guest. We're with Chastin J Miles. He built his YouTube channel up to over 74,000 subs, and we have some really cool stuff to share with you, how he got started, and some basic tips so you can get started too. Let's dive right into the video.
Welcome to Coffee with Closers. In this series, we interview top real estate producers that are out there making big things happen in the real estate industry. That way you can learn from their failures and their big wins so you can start winning more in your real estate business.
So Chastin, welcome to the show. I'm glad you were able to come on. Really excited to have you on. And I know you've built a massive social media following, and I know it's done, wonders for your business. So I wanted to talk to you today about how you got started and then how you grew it all the way up to a massive 74,000 subs.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Chris. I appreciate it. And I get that question a lot. This YouTube thing has definitely been a journey of mine, and how it all came about. Honestly, I was at the beginning of my career and things just were not working out. Things were not working out. It was very tough for me, and I didn't know what else to do. I was getting frustrated. I spent all my money trying to build this business. It got to the point where my electricity got turned off, right?
Wow.
It got that bad for me just trying to make it out here. And I realized that one of my big problems that I had was nobody really knew me, right? Nobody knew me. When I started my career, I had just moved from Georgia to Texas. So I had this dream. I said, I'm going to move to Texas and become this successful real estate agent. And I'm going to work in real estate for a year. Then I'm going to move to California or New York, right? I didn't know anything about the real estate business and how unrealistic that was. But I did know once I got licensed, I was working day in and day out, just trying to make something happen for me, but nothing was. And I didn't know real estate was very much so based off of relationships, right? People want to work with people who they know, like, and trust. And the thing is, nobody knew me, so nobody could like or dislike me. And of course, since no one knew me, I didn't have trust with anybody. So how could I create that? I was young, and it was a little uncomfortable for me to go to networking events. I eventually started doing that, but I barely knew the streets in the area, right? And so the next best thing, especially at my age, was hopping on social media. The network that I chose was YouTube, right? And I got on there. I didn't have all of that intelligence that most people have now because I didn't have a course. I didn't have a trainer around it. None of that kind of stuff. I just got on there and started making videos, started releasing videos. I was doing all kinds of videos. I was ranting on some of my videos about how frustrated I was. I was doing videos to attract buyers and sellers. I was all over the place. But what that started to do was it started to get eyes on me, right? And people started to comment and wanted more information about maybe something I said or something that I was doing or my journey. And I started answering those questions through other videos. And as I did that, it was attracting more and more and more people and more comments and this and that. And fast forward to today, I have a lot more intelligence around the algorithms and how that all works and things like that. So I teach people all of that stuff now. But I like to say, I was the test dummy for my own success with these algorithms, because now it all makes sense. It all makes sense why my videos were shown to more people. But that all happened with me just being super authentic and genuine about what I was talking about.
That makes total sense. So how long did it take you to grow to that size? I mean, YouTube, it seems like when you first start posting, it's like a ghost town, right? And I know a lot of the agents that do start YouTube channels oftentimes give up because they're posting video after video. Maybe they do 10 videos and they're getting no views, they're getting no likes, they're getting no comments, and they're just like, what am I doing, right? So what was it like when you first started, and then what was the pattern of growth? What did that look like? And what should people expect,
Sure. Well, I would say that my growth was very consistent, and this has been probably 6 years worth of growth, 6 or 7 years. So, and don't let that scare you, because the style of videos that I was creating, even today, they're not those viral type of videos, right? They're educational. They're me showing the business, me offering advice, like nothing that's going to circulate around the world as this viral sensation. That's this comedy or parody, whatever. None of that stuff. So I already knew that, right? Then my audience size. Who is my audience for these videos, right? I am trying to reach consumers who wanted to do real estate deals with me. Then it transitioned to me wanting to reach agents, but that cuts your audience size down too, right? Then you got to factor in your age, what you're talking about, where you're located, all of that kind of stuff factors in too. So it was a very steady growth. But here's the one thing that I want a lot of people to know. Just because I say 6 years and you may say, oh, it's going to take me 6 years or 6 years and only 74,000 or 75,000, however many, I don't want you to confuse that with the successes that were taking place, because a like, a comment, a subscribe, that's all an action that someone else has to take. So you can't really hinge your success or non-success on the platform based on someone clicking that like, subscribe button. And it wasn't my goal to get a click of that button. It was my goal for someone to pick up the phone or write an email saying that they wanted to work with me, right? And that happened all through the journey, from even the beginning, from less than 200 subscribers all the way up until now, because that's the people in the audience that I was making the content for, and that's the action that I wanted them to take. Now, if I would have just made it all about a subscriber number, there's a million other things that I could have did, including buying subscribers to just get a number. But at the end of the day, that number doesn't mean that you're making a bunch of money. And I was trying to make money. And so some great things that happened along the way were a lot of agents started reaching out to me and sending me referrals. That was happening on a monthly basis, because they were seeing me. Consumers were reaching out to me because they saw that I was very knowledgeable about real estate. Even if I wasn't talking to a consumer in the video, they saw that I was knowledgeable about it. They saw that I was in Dallas. And so their real estate goals aligned with what I was talking about. So there were successes all along the way, and my growth was very steady. It's still very steady today.
Yeah, that is awesome. Because I mean, I think there's quite a few. They're starting to pop up more and more. But you started this before it was even a trend to be on YouTube as an agent. So you were in at the grassroots and you've taken it all the way now. Now, would you say it's harder or easier for someone to jump in the game now?
Well, the more important question for that would be, what are we basing harder or easier on? And who is your audience? Because let's just say if you were trying to compete with other real estate agents, it may be a little bit more difficult, because now your audience size is nationwide and there's a ton of other real estate agents on social media, if that's your audience, right? Not saying that it can't be done, but if that's your audience, you have a wider playing field than it may be for your hometown where you live, where you could be one of the very few real estate agents on YouTube. So you have an open lane and you can get results a lot quicker because you don't have all that competition. So it's important to know, like, to determine if it's going to be harder or easier, who are you serving and who are you creating the content for?
That makes total sense. And I would imagine the majority of agents that are watching this channel are probably going to be making the content for the consumer. People looking to buy, people looking to sell, more of a content channel on like home buying tips, something like that.
Yeah. And I can tell you, even for me, I'm in Dallas. It's a huge city. There is not as many real estate agents as you would expect that are posting YouTube content for Dallas. I mean, there's only a few. And so it's still an easy, wide open lane. And it's important to know that YouTube is owned by Google and it's very search engine optimized. And so a bulk of your work and reach can literally just be based on what keywords you use in the description, what tags you put on the video, the title of the video to reach your right audience, you know, and that's what you want the video to do. For instance, if I'm releasing a product, right, and I know that my product is for new agents, then my title, my description tags are going to match that new agent. I know that there's not as many new agents as existing agents, and heck, at the end of the day, that video can only get 500 views, but I know those 500 views are to that audience that I'm trying to tackle for that video, instead of me just having a bunch of views to the wrong people, thus lowering my retention, lowering my watch time, hurting me more than it's helping me.
That makes total sense. That is a great point. So it's more about targeted views that actually want to see the content than just general views that are going to ruin your back-end analytics and make YouTube less likely to promote the video more. Right?
Yep.
That's
absolutely
huge. That is an awesome tip. So anything else you want to add? I think this was pretty impactful.
You know, the only thing that I would want to add is it doesn't have to be as difficult as most people make it seem, because there is a tremendous amount of people that are scared to even step in front of a camera, let alone put it publicly online on a network like YouTube. Okay, so the playing field and the competition is not as tough as people think it is, and you will be the minority putting yourself out there. So I'm saying that to encourage you to make that step, put yourself out there. No matter how long the journey takes, you're going to be well ahead of most of the other people in your industry who are not choosing to put something out there. So whether you start now or start in the next year or so, just start, just do it. And don't get caught up on if it's growing quick or not, because my journey has been years. And heck, I could easily say, man, I should be at 1 million by now and just throw in the towel, but I don't, because I know the results that I'm getting, and I'm completely fine with them. I'm happy with them, you know, and that's all that matters at the end of the day.
That is awesome. That's great advice, because there are a lot of agents I know that are out there that are like very terrified of the camera. It's almost like prospecting. Like they know they have to do it or they should do it, but they just can't make themselves do it because they're just afraid of the rejection, or they're afraid of, you know, making themselves look bad. But there's a huge ROI on both things, you know?
Yeah.
So that's really good feedback. I think a lot of agents will appreciate it. And if you have comments or questions, drop it in the comment section below. We'll do everything we can to get back to you and answer those. So Chastin, thanks so much for coming on. Definitely appreciate it. And keep killing it with YouTube.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks, Chastin.